This video is about drywall and making extra money with drywall. If you're watching this video, you could skip a few minutes and we'll get right into drywall, but please just hit that subscribe button and comment about a drywall job that you have done. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you slept well. Today we're doing another drywall video. If you wait till the end, I will share with you how much I made from this job, how much I spent in costs, and how long it took, and how much I made hourly, all those type of things. The customer had taken out a part of an exterior wall, and they added in a doorway because they just wanted an extra entrance into the house. So we just need to patch up around it. Really not that big of a job, but this will be great for you if you have that situation, or even just a simple drywall patch. I mentioned morning at the beginning. I wake up at 6 a.m. every day. For me, that's when I do my paperwork, my numbers, my scheduling, and I just kind of figure out my day. It's quiet and it's easy to do it in the mornings. How many of you can say that you set your alarm at a certain time and you struggle to get up? You lay there in bed a little longer. I'm going to share with you, once we get a little bit more activity on this account, how to wake up when you want to with ease and just get right out of bed. It's a simple trick, it's beautiful, but I want more activity on this account before we share that tip. Right now we only have just a few subscribers, very few even active, so please share this video and let's get the word out. The word is changing your mindset about making your own money. Today, when I share with you how much I made, you'll be surprised. How did he make that much money in an hour, right? How much do you make an hour? $10, even $30 an hour? Would you think $30 an hour is a lot of money? I don't. I'd be pissed if I made $30 an hour. I'd be pissed if I made $40 an hour, full time. Let's get the word out. Please share, please subscribe, please comment any questions you have. We'll get right into this drywall repair. This is today's project, and doesn't that look like a nightmare? Very intimidating, isn't it? We have cement plaster, okay? This is kind of scary to do, isn't it? It really isn't. I'm going to show you right in and get right into it. It's very easy to fix. One of the most crucial parts about a job like this, we've got to get everything that's loose off. The cement likes to break apart, and you got to get all the loose stuff removed. Getting my measurement for that side piece there, it doesn't need to be an exact fit, okay? Because any shortage of it is just, you're going to fill with pre-fill. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know that pre-fill is going to fix pretty much all your problems. Do you see this technique I'm doing with my hand and the razor blade? That's a great way just to speed up cutting. It just makes it go a lot smoother instead of breaking out the chalk line and doing that whole mess. I'm really attempting to try to keep these videos as short as possible. So this hanging is only going to take 1.5 minutes. So basically this is my piece that I'm hanging. It doesn't need to be a perfect fit. It just doesn't matter. Pre-fill is going to take care of it. Even if you take a look here, that's all the drywall I'm putting there. Do you see that large, huge gap in there? It just doesn't matter because pre-fill is going to fix this up. Here again, I'm just trying to demonstrate that technique. You grip in your hand the length that you need, and then the other hand with the knife, and you just kind of swipe it down. You got to build up a little bit of a callus because you get a blister at first. So here again, I'm doing the exact same thing, but I'm going to show you how you can do multiple cuts with the exact same technique. I'm doing the window sill or the door sill or whatever, and they all need to be 3 inches. So the first was 3 inches, the next one's 6 inches, the next one's 9 inches. You can make a lot of great cuts like this and make it very quick. So that completes our hang. Do you see all the rough edges and the huge gaps?
Again, it just doesn't matter. Don't get hung up on it. If you're trying to make money at this, you got to learn how to do things quickly. I sped this up because I really wanted you to see it. But see how I'm just globbing it in there? I'm shoving it in all the cracks, and I'm just laying it on really heavy, and then I'm just kind of wiping it. That's just the pre-fill. I'm going to do that a whole bunch of times. Same thing here. I'm just kind of globbing it in there. I'm making sure there's no air bubbles hidden, so it's 100% pre-fill mud. And then I just wipe it tight. I know I keep repeating myself, but just pre-fill, it doesn't need to look perfect. It doesn't need to look even good. The point is to fill the holes. So we're shoving it in there and we're wiping it tight. Because this crack was so large, I actually layer it 3 wide with tape, and that's okay to do that. You could even go more if you needed. The pre-fill is what holds it together, and the tape's what keeps it from cracking. I'm going to tape the rest off camera, but that's what it looks like having 3 thick like that. So I'm just going to finish up taping, and I'll show you that in a second. So I'm fully taped here. If you notice on top, I did 2 layers where that large section was. And that's it taped. This has a huge fill, so this is technically my first layer, but we're going to do many, many more. I'm not making it look pretty. I'm just trying to get the fill in there. If you watch a few of my other videos, what a fill is may make more sense. And this is what it looks like for the first layer. I'm not sure why my camera did it sideways like that, but this is the first layer over the whole project. It's important to note that the inside of the window sill, that needs to stay very square and flush with everything. We're adding corner bead now. Now the original wall compared to the patch isn't flat. You see that huge fill there? But I don't have enough space to fill it because the door's there. So basically what we have to do, we have to lift the bead up like this and screw it like that so there isn't a fill. As you're adding the corner bead, you always want to check with your knife to make sure you're flat and level and you have enough room for the tape. This is the portion of the bead that I showed you earlier, that big fill. Now I've already lined it up so it meets well, but basically you can move that back and forth to get where it needs to be so there's no fill and that is a perfect line. Another important thing about bead is you always want some light to show because you're going to add tape and you don't want to see the tape when you put the mud on. We have all 3 sides done, and then we're going to tape it. And you want to tape the inside and the outside, and this just helps prevent cracking. This is our first layer for the bead, so again, it doesn't need to look well. We're going to do the inside and the outside. I've completed the first layer on the bead. Okay, and again, don't overthink it. It doesn't need to look good. I know I keep repeating myself, but just that's how it is. Next, we're just going to kind of clean this up here. These heavy lines, we're just going to kind of scrape them. Doesn't need to look perfect. We're just trying to get the bulky things gone because we're going to do our second layer of quickset now. This is the second quickset coat over the tape. Now again, it doesn't need to look perfect, but each layer you do will slowly look better and better than the last. You always want to check your fill, make sure that you're filling what you need to and not filling what you don't need to. This is up close. It looks a little better than it did before, didn't it? Just a little. I'm not worried about all these lines because we're going to do additional coats on top of that. Now that the second layer has dried, I'm just going to prep it for the third layer. So again, we're just taking off the high points here. We're not sanding, we're not nothing, just the little high spikes we're just kind of scraping off. And the third coat will go right over on top of that. This is now the third quick set coat over the tape. I am just doing the entire area, although I'm working with two fills here. I have one by the bead and then one by that shelving thing. So just be mindful because the fill we want thicker than the non-fill. So here we look a little bit nicer, but still we're doing more layers. But it looks nicer and nicer each coat that we do. On that same area, these are the fills I'm talking about. So that's fill 1. That's the second fill, not too bad. Here's an additional one. Okay, that one needs quite a bit of work. And then one up top. So the fill is when you stick your knife up to it, how much light do you see? Because you want the wall to be flat. This is, I've just finished coating the third quick set coat over everything. And that's what it looks like. This is the fourth quick set coat over the tape. You basically just keep going and going until your fills are flat. Here, because I know I'm doing topping coat next, our finish coat, I'm going to make this coat as nice as possible. It doesn't need to be perfect though, but just a lot nicer than the layers before. This is that fourth layer dried. Okay, it looks much nicer, but still we're doing one additional coat on top of this. It's important to kind of knock off all the dirty edges when we're ready for our final coat. As you can see, our fills look pretty good. This is going to be our final coat. I use topping coat. You just can get it at Home Depot. It's a finishing mud. It paints really well. It sands really well, and it's just extremely smooth. Before I did this layer, I just softly went over with my knife and just kind of scraped off any loose edges, so we had a smooth as wall as possible. Now when we wipe that, do you see how smooth that was and how beautiful that wall looks right there? That's what we're trying to look. This is the final coat, so we want it to look perfect. Our finished coat is on and dried here, or mostly dried. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand off these loose on the bead, weird lines like this. I have a funny thing down here. I'm just going to do a light sanding, and that completes the project. This is everything sanded out, and this is the final product. I'm going to get cleaned up, and that job is done. We're off to the next one. I just finished up. That one took me a little longer. Sometimes when I do quotes, I do them over the phone, send me pictures. I should have priced it a little higher, but it is what it is. It took me 4.5 hours to do. It paid $250, so that's $55.50 an hour. Still fantastic money. For me, it's on the low side. I'm not going to have time to get my other job done today, unfortunately, because this one went about an hour over. But interesting, $55 an hour. How many of you can sit there and say that you make $55 an hour? And in this case, let's say we spread it out to 8 hours. I only worked 4.5 today. Still, that's like 30 an hour, whatever the math is. And I get to go home. I only worked 4.5 hours today, unfortunately. But you could look at it that way as a good way. The point of all these videos is to change your mindset about how making money works. You don't have to go to a job to make your money. He paid in cash, $250 cash for 4.5 hours of my time. Why couldn't you do that full time with anything? We have a couple really exciting videos coming up as far as other ways to make money that could easily make you full-time money, quit your job money. Not super rich, not crazy rich,
but you could make 5 to 10 grand a month, and I think that is plenty for a family. Comment, please subscribe to these videos. Comment about a job that you had that, for me, this job was frustrating. A job that you had that was a little frustrating, you got it done anyway, and you wish you would have changed something about it. Thanks.